So I'm Cynthia, and I'm the host of the reality series CPS the Horror Stories. I'm not an attorney or a social worker, but I am a mom who lost her children to Child Protective Services, and after 2 years of fighting, I did get my kids back. But that does not mean that we did not struggle, did not have the fight of our lives, and don't still deal with the trauma and mental things that we deal with now because of them. It doesn't just go away. So now I have this platform for parents and family members to be able to come on and share their story, their horror story of dealing with CPS and how they have destroyed their lives. So Donna, it is Donna, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Can you introduce yourself? Tell me where you're from, what you do.
Okay. I'm actually from Pennsylvania. I'm actually a stay-at-home mom because I've always been a stay-at-home mom. I clean here and there, whatever, but my children come first, and I only have one here left yet, and he's 11. So he comes first. So yes.
Now
and honestly, good.
So how many children do you have total?
I actually have 4 children, but one's a bonus child, but I have given birth to 3 children, but I'm also a stepmother as well.
Okay.
So I have 4.
Okay, and did you have experience, because I know you mentioned that this story is about your grandchild, but did you have any experience with CPS prior to this issue?
Never in my entire life.
Okay, so they weren't in your life as a child or in your life as a mother?
Okay. You know what? Now that you say that, but a totally different county. Yes, I was a foster child myself. Yes, I was, but a totally different area.
Okay, what happened to you as a foster child?
Actually, nobody wanted me. I lived on my own since I was 16 and a half years old. Okay. And I've been a survivor all my life. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. I know what it's like to be a survivor.
That's why I'm such a fighter.
Yeah, I get it. So, can I ask what happened? How did you get in the system?
My mom was a drug addict, and my dad was a Vietnam vet, and he did the best that he could. But when he couldn't take care of me, they put me in foster care because my dad had a lot of mental problems. But I only went in foster care, not my brother, just me. But I didn't even do anything wrong. I wasn't even a bad kid. Nobody wanted me. I was older.
Now, how old was your brother?
Only 3 years apart. So if I was 16,
older?
Yeah, he's younger than me.
Sorry, I needed to get a tissue.
That's all right. Yes, he's younger than me.
Okay. And so your dad kept him.
They took me away because they said 5 people in a 1-bedroom apartment. I was the only girl, so it wasn't appropriate.
So it wasn't like your dad just gave you up.
No, actually, I'd be honest with you, Cynthia, I don't think he really knew how to deal with it because he was a Vietnam vet and he had a lot of issues himself.
Do you have a relationship with him?
He's dead.
Okay. Did you have one with him after that had happened?
Yeah. Yes, we actually reunited. He got to meet my older daughters, but he never got to meet anybody else or anything. But yes, he died when he was 49 years old. He believe it or not, he came around and he actually said he was sorry for not fighting for me, but he didn't know how. He said they beat him down so bad, he didn't know how.
Well, now you are experiencing this and you understand exactly how they beat you down. How they make you feel that big.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you called the radio station on Saturday, right?
Yes, I did.
I talked to you? Okay, so I'm excited to hear your story. Not excited in like a good way. It's just, so, okay. Now let's finish this up with you. When you went into the system, did you go to a group home, or how old were you when they took you away?
I was 13 and I went to several group homes, but I've moved to 10 different foster homes in 1 year. Nobody wanted me. When I got to almost 16 and a half years old, my caseworker told me to lie and I'm not one to admit that. Okay, just say you got to live with your mom because there's nothing wrong with you. And Donna, if you don't, you will age out here and you'll rot. So this is what I did. Sorry, somebody's calling me. Of course, they call me when I have an yeah. So what I did was my mom actually was talking to me at the time, and she had gotten back in contact with me, and they told her, you know what? We're just going to do we're going to do a home plan. You're going to go home and you're going to be fine. And things didn't go right when I got home. So I moved out on my own at 16 and a half years old and been on my own ever since.
Wow. Where did you go?
I've been a survivor. I guess I was just born like this. I actually lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I just said, Mom, I'm sorry. I love you, but I need my own space. And I got an apartment and I worked 3 jobs and been a survivor ever since.
Wow, Donna, that's amazing. That's awesome.
I lived in the streets of Pittsburgh and didn't even have my driver's license. I worked in the city.
Now, question, did you ever, when people go through difficult times like this, they tend to, start using drugs or drinking. Did you ever lean on anything?
I'm a miracle. Me or my brother never did. And we had some pretty messed up lives. Nope. It skipped our generation. I did not do anything.
See, my same thing, all at one time. I don't know if you read the Bible.
Yes, actually, I'm a Christian. Yes.
Okay, me too. So the book of Job, that happened to me.
Yes.
And
wow.
I lost my home. I lost my marriage. I lost my family. I lost my kids. My health went down the drain. I was on hospice 3 different times. I've had 100.
Wow.
I've had 110 surgeries in almost 5 years.
Wow, you're a miracle.
So, and I never did drugs or anything like that.
Wow. Nope. I never turned to anything. Be honest with you. I just always would hear this, I always remember this in school. Okay. I remember this teacher that said this to me and it impacted my life forever. She said, you don't have to be where you came from. So that always stuck with me.
Exactly. So, okay, well, now that I kind of have your background, let's hop into as a mom. How old are your kids?
Okay, my oldest daughter is 25. I won't say their name, 25, okay? Then I have another daughter, 22. My bonus son's 23, and then I have an 11-year-old.
Okay, and you're fine to say anybody's name who's not been removed and not given back. So there's just one person, that
okay.
we can't really say their name.
It's okay. I won't say it anyway, just in case she sees this. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect. Okay. So now your kids, how many grandchildren do you have?
Actually, I have one in California. I was called my bonus son because I would never want to take the spot of the regular grandmother. So I'm a step grandmother. Okay. And then I have the one that's 5 and that's it.
Okay. So the one that's 5 is the one that's gone. And who does this one belong to? Which of your children?
My oldest daughter.
Okay. And is your oldest daughter married? Or
no? Oh, yeah, actually she is, but she's not with her husband, if that makes sense, because he's in prison. Yeah, she's married, but they're not together. Yes.
Okay. So let's start. Why did CPS come in your life?
It was actually the hardest day of my life. I'll never forget it as long as I live. Okay, so July 28th, 2015, I get a phone call. And my daughter lived in housing, okay, up near my house, like around the block or whatever. And they said, you're on the emergency call list, and I'm calling because your daughter is living out of her car with her baby. And I'm like, I don't know why you're calling me. Well, you're on the list. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, we want to know if we can see the baby. And I go, first of all, this is what I said. Don't try to play me against my daughter. I know how you guys work. You call my daughter back up. You go to my daughter's house. If you cannot see the baby, you give me a call back. So I didn't even know she had an open CPS case. She never told me, Cynthia. She never told me.
Now,
so
what was your relationship with your daughter like?
That's what's really weird. Amazing. Like, I mean, we have some brokenness. We've had some trials and tribulation. I'm not going to lie. She's my oldest. I think you make mistakes with your oldest, especially when you don't have God's guidance. Yeah. So she lived with me when she was pregnant. I took her to every doctor's appointment. I was there for every single thing. I was at the hospital when she had her emergency C-section. I took care of her the whole time she was pregnant. So I thought we had a good relationship. I mean, not perfect because we have some bumps. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? But very, like, to the point where I see my granddaughter every day before she moved out. Do you know what I mean? Every day.
Now, why?
She lived here for 3.5 months.
I was going to ask you, why wasn't your daughter living with you?
Well, I don't know how you are as a mom, but I don't want to baby my daughter and make her feel like she's nothing. So I told her when she was pregnant that I would help her get a place. But being pregnant, she didn't want to be by herself. So I was like, okay, stay here as long as you want. But when you have the baby, whenever you're ready to go back, then you can go back. So she already had the apartment already, okay? So she wasn't liking my rules, Cynthia. I don't know if you have older kids, but she didn't like my rules. So she got mad at me and she moved out. And I said, I will see you. I will come help with the baby and everything like that. But you can't treat me like that, whatever. So you know what I mean? So she moved out. Okay, because she didn't like my roles.
Yeah, I'm a role person, and I have a feeling that if my eldest doesn't figure that out very soon, there's going to be some problems.
Yes. And see, I had other children at the time. So my son was 5 and my daughter was 17. What kind of an example was I showing if I let other men come in the house and this and that? Because see, that's why she got mad at me, because I wouldn't let her boyfriend stay here with the baby. Her and the baby were welcome, but I didn't want to teach them that it was okay to run like a hotel in my house when I have other children to raise. I want to be an example. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. And as a believer, even though they've already, done it,
yes,
it's supposed to be in marriage, and
yes,
even if you guys have a child together, you can still decide to live correctly. And
exactly, yes.
If you guys want to go get married, then hey, I support it.
He wasn't even the father, and he was still helping her. But the point is what you said. Watching children, my oldest daughter, okay, I made a lot of mistakes with my first one. I'm being honest, okay? So I had to break the cycle with her. So I wanted to make sure I raised the other one right, because I wanted to stop the cycle. So yes.
Well, okay. Well, that makes it even more so, wanting to set that example. It's the same thing. Like, I'm a single mom, and when I date, I set an example for my kids. I don't sleep around. I don't let guys stay. I don't, for those reasons. So I understand. I think that so she got mad and left.
She moved out and went into her apartment.
Okay.
Yes. And I didn't even know there was an open CPS case. But when they did call me, I did call her, and this is what I said. Hey, just call the children youth lady back. At the time, I didn't know all this. Let her see the baby, whatever. No, I'm not doing that. I'm like, okay, I can only do so much, whatever. And I let it go.
How long was the social worker in her life at that time already?
2 months. Intake. It's called intake. Yes.
Okay. Wow. Now, why was CPS in her life? Did you ever?
This is what my daughter told me. The neighbor called on her because of her activity with the different people coming in and out of her house and seeing a little baby there or whatever, and all the loud noise. They were concerned for what was going on. Somebody called on her.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
And do you happen to know anything that happened between her and the social worker prior to you getting the phone call? Like,
Yes, she ignored them. That's why they called me.
okay, was there any, well, there wasn't an open case yet, right?
Well, when you call intake, is that an open case? Because they said it was an open case intake, whatever that means.
As long as she hadn't gone to court, there wasn't court papers, a judge involved.
Oh.
It's that's how it is in California. So
Okay. Okay. See, I don't really know. You know what I mean? I could tell you the lady was very kind to me. Honestly, out of anybody out of this whole thing, she's the only one that ever told the truth.
okay, wow, okay, must have been a new social worker.
Yeah, she didn't stay long either.
Okay, I'm like,
She
okay,
did. She told the truth. I'm being totally honest. She
yeah,
did.
that's awesome. Yeah, so and how it works here is CPS can be in your life for months, harassing you, calling, even putting demands on you and a case plan for you to do things
Oh,
without the judge aware, and
wow.
I'm pretty sure it's up to you whether you want to do those things or not, because it hasn't been ordered by a judge.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
So, okay, so the social worker is bothering your daughter in a sense, and
Because she wants to see the baby. Yes.
okay, she's ignoring them, and you get a call and you tell her, call her, I don't want to be involved, and then you contact your daughter. Does she answer for you? And you say everything. What happens then? Does she call the social worker?
She got kind of an attitude with me. I'm being honest. She's 20. Okay. And I said, Jordan,
It's okay.
I said, call her back. I said, if you have nothing to hide, just call her back. Okay. Well, the lady called me back. Okay. And said Jordan would not answer the phone. So I said, okay, I have no problem. And at the time, Cynthia, she was getting married and going on her honeymoon. So she was asking me to watch the child anyway. Okay.
Okay.
So I already had the baby. So they called me and I said, sure. Because I didn't really think nothing of it. You know what I mean? Whatever. And she said, oh, she's beautiful. I said, yes, I know. She's my granddaughter. And then she goes, can we make a doctor's appointment? Because I guess that was the problem with my daughter. She wasn't making enough doctor's appointments or whatever. I don't know. I took her to all of them, Cynthia. So I don't know what they were talking about. I'm just being honest. Okay.
You took the baby to all of them prior to CPS?
Yes. With my daughter or without her. Yes. With or without her. Yes.
Now, was she working at the time?
No, she had a little bit. I don't know what was going on with her, to be honest with you. I actually sometimes believe she had postpartum, but
Okay.
I couldn't get her out of the house.
Then I was wondering about that when okay. Oh, poor thing. Okay.
I know. I tried. You know what I mean?
Of course. Okay, so you let the social worker see the baby?
The baby, she says, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. She said, would you mind if we made a doctor's appointment together? Because that is my job. She does have an open case, I guess, whatever you want to call it, intake or whatever. I said, sure, no problem. And we took her to the doctors.
That would be curious about that, about if that needed or should have happened.
Okay. I took her to the doctors and they said she was failure to thrive. And I don't believe that. She had very bad acid reflux. So she threw up 16 times a day.
What doctor did you take her to? Her regular primary or the social workers?
The social workers doctor. Whoever they recommend. Because I had a different doctor.
Yep.
And right away they had the call, more or less the police. Not that not in the hospital, but she said as her job as a pediatrician, she had to report what she's seen.
One thing I hate about like the doctors and the stats for the children is every child is different.
Yes, because she was a peanut when she was born.
So it's like, okay, so she doesn't fit your scale, but is she healthy? Are her labs good? Is she doing things that she should be at that age?
She always was smiling and laughing. And you know what? I'm not going to say my daughter was a perfect mother. You know what I mean? Because I don't believe any of us are. I think we learn, especially as the first time. But that baby laughed all the time. That baby smiled. That baby cooed. That baby did everything. But I was just being respectful because I didn't want to do anything wrong. Do you know what I mean? Because she asked me to take the child. And I said, sure. And then she gave me the safety plan, but it was not signed.
By a judge.
Right. It wasn't signed. My daughter refused to sign it.
Oh, who did not? It was not signed by who? The daughter or the judge or both?
It wasn't signed by both.
Okay, well that's good. I don't think that she should sign anything.
Okay. Well, so she was, they said, this is what they said, Cynthia. I don't know. Like I said, this is what they said to her. Sign the safety plan so your mom can keep the baby. And she said, no, I don't want my mom to have the baby. And she said, well, if you don't sign the safety plan, your daughter goes to foster care. Guess what she did? Put her in foster care.
See, these are hard things because you never know. See, I'm pretty sure Attorney Vince says don't sign it, you know, especially without an attorney. Did you guys have an attorney yet? Yeah.
She was, and then I found out, Cynthia, that she tested positive for meth and benziosis or whatever. So my heart broke twice.
Your daughter was on meth?
And I didn't know it.
The baby test?
The baby was perfect.
Okay.
She didn't have any drugs in her body at all.
Oh man.
She must have stopped doing. She must have only did like maybe something before she was pregnant or whatever, because she went to the doctors every month because she was high risk. Because I'll be honest with you, when I found out that she was on drugs, you know, because she did tell me, she goes, Mom, I took one test, I took one thing of marijuana and something or whatever, and I didn't know I was pregnant. I said, okay, we're going to go to the hospital. And because I told them that, they gave her prenatal care every single month for 7 months. So regular, like more or less high risk to make sure the baby was okay. And at 7 months, they cut her off and said she was perfect.
So your daughter was using substances prior to having a baby?
But not with the child. But right, I don't know, because they're not allowed to show me that. That's HIPAA. You know what I mean?
Right. But when she had the baby, had she been dirty, they would have taken the baby then.
Exactly. And she did. And she came home to my house.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry that you're just, you know, finding this stuff out like this.
Yeah, so my heart broke twice.
Right. So you take her to the doctor. She's failure to thrive, and social worker decides to call the cops right then and there, or out of the room.
Yeah, whatever that. No, she did right in front of me. She did whatever line she had to as a pediatrician, and said she was failure to thrive. And I said, what does that mean? She's like, she's underweight. I'm like, ma'am, she throws up 16 times a day. That's why she's on Zantac and all that, from the other pediatrician that we took her to, because they told her that they had it. Where I took her, they told me that. You know what I mean? They told me she had that. And it's common in some babies, and they have to grow out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's why she had to take Alimentum that's why she had to be on the expensive formula.
Now, how long had she been throwing up, and how long had she been on the medication prior to this doctor appointment?
Honestly, I would probably only say like maybe, because I was at every single one. That's how I know. I would probably say maybe only a month and a half or whatever. But you know what I mean? I don't know. I took her. I got her the medication. I gave it to her.
So it was new. Was she still vomiting with the medication?
Yes, a little bit. She really was. Yes.
Did she have a follow-up appointment?
Yes, I took her to it. And I didn't get a chance to take her to it because they had she was with her. She was in foster care.
Right. Did her weight, did the vomiting slow down with the medication, or no, it didn't change anything?
Yes, it did slow down. It did slow down. And then the first foster mom that she had to feed her every 2 hours. In a matter of a month, she gained almost 3 pounds.
Okay, so she was making headway.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So she probably was one of them babies just needed to be fed more. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's just with children, with anything, it's trial and error, especially because not all kids are the same. So you never know. And the same thing, like I breastfed both of my children. My son was strictly breast, like never even pumped, just breast, which was hard.
Wow. Wow.
My daughter I was stressed out as a mom with her. She was my firstborn. There was a lot going on. So I was having a hard time producing milk. I would breastfeed, I would try to pump, but I would have to supplement with formula. And it caused a lot of belly issues and stuff like that. So I was trying to change our formula constantly to see which one would be better. So the point is you just never know. You never know.
Yep.
Well, I'm listening to this and it's like, okay, I can see if she had a concern because it's been like this for, 6 months and there hasn't been a change and you're doing the same things or whatever. But it was all new. Okay.
Right. Yes. Because she was only 3.5 months old. Well, 4 months old.
Was the social worker at the doctor appointment?
So was I. Yes.
Okay. So after the appointment, she calls the police?
No, not her. She never called the police, only the doctor.
What did why?
She said she had to call the police because she had to report it because as a pediatrician, if a child's under a certain amount of weight, they have to report it failure to thrive. It was some kind of like medical police. And my daughter was listed then as neglect.
And what?
And then I guess my daughter was neglected. I mean, on that, then my daughter was listed as neglect.
Neglectful?
And I don't believe that was true. I don't believe it was true. No, I don't.
So the medical, let me look that up. I'm curious what that is.
Okay.
Because the doctor would have just called the social workers.
And the social worker was right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, she said as her job, she, if you're a mandated reporter, she had to report it to some kind of like authority because a failure to thrive.
I'm not seeing anything. So I would be interested to know who this is, if you have paperwork or anything like that.
I don't have anything because it wasn't my case.
Okay, well, does your daughter have anything?
She was on the streets, Cynthia. I have to tell you the truth. The more that they done this to her, the more she got on drugs, the more she got worse, the more she felt worthless. She wouldn't even show up to most of the doctor's appointments. I'm being totally honest. But I was there at every single one, even though she was not.
I believe you. And let me tell you, as a mom of dealing with CPS, I'm not condoning it at all, but I understand how parents get in that position of using and just running away because of how they make you feel, how they attack.
You know what's really funny they say that? Okay, so I was seeing her with visits with her mom, okay? The one day my daughter told me that I wasn't allowed to go there anymore. Mom, please don't come. They're going to make it worse on me. I said, okay, I'm sending your sister. You need a witness. They told me, God.
No, go ahead.
She told me the one time, Cynthia, and I was so mad at her because she would not tell because she was scared. They locked her in a room for 3 hours and tried to make her sign over her baby. But thank God she did not.
So I don't know if you know anything about my case.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I only knew like a little bit here and there of like what you say, but I never dove into it in depth. You know what I mean?
So I didn't just fight CPS. It was my own mom who took my kids.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Who can do that?
Mine. And then
See, and guess what? What you're saying though? You know how you just said that? That's what they made her think. And they tried to play us against each other.
Oh yeah,
It got so bad, Cynthia. They would not even let me at the visits because they say every time I'm at the visits, I make her upset. And I'm like,
yes, they said
I
that
got
about
your
me
game.
they said that about me with my kids. Like, you're causing them severe anxiety and stress and all of this stuff. And I'm like, these are my kids. Not true at all. Not true at all.
So they played us against us for a while. I'll be honest with you. That was my hardest battle. For an example, I'll give you an example. I did not stop, okay? I showed up at them hearings. Well, they adjudicated her August 5th, and I filed for custody August 21st, 2015. Cynthia, do you know I still never got my hearing to this day?
I believe it. And another thing that they did to me is they illegally forged me signing over my parental rights to my mom.
Wow. You know what's really funny you say that? The baby's dad was nowhere around, but they say they got both signatures. It's funny that you say that. So now that makes me think I know that something's up.
They had me go to mediation and told me, okay, you're going to get your kids back in 3 weeks. We're dropping all the allegations, because the allegations were given to them by my mom. Said I was on drugs, never touched a drug in my life, said I was too ill to take care of my kids. So I have, I'll show you.
Okay.
I have 2 tubes, 1 feeds, and one empties my stomach.
Oh my gosh, bless your heart.
And then I have, a port. I get
Okay.
treatment and stuff. Okay.
Well, let me tell you what, you're absolutely beautiful. You would not know that.
Thank you. So, the doctor makes the phone call to this medical police. And what happened?
That's all she says. That's all I heard her say. I could be saying it wrong. All I know is she said she had to report it. Okay.
So what happened next?
Okay. I have the baby and I go home with her.
Yeah. What did the
later
say?
She just said, Donna, I'm so proud of you. Do you want to have a visit with me? Since your daughter didn't show up? I said, sure. So we went out to eat or whatever, and she let me see her for like an hour. Do you know what I mean? Sorry. I took her home that day. I'm sorry. Okay. And then she just said, Donna, I'm going to keep in contact with you. Okay. I said, you're welcome here anytime. I said, you don't even have to call. Just walk in the door. I don't even care if you come at midnight. Whatever you want to do. I promise you, I'm not going to do nothing. I will protect my granddaughter, even from anyone. I don't care who you are. Okay. So I have her. She calls me and she says, your daughter won't sign a safety plan. And I said, why? She said, because your daughter doesn't want you to have a baby. I said, didn't you just tell me you drug tested her and she tested positive for benzoate, crystal meth, or whatever? In my opinion, she does not have the right to choose because she's not even in her right frame of mind. Well, she's the mother. They put her in foster care.
So the mom didn't want you to have the baby? Is that what?
Oh, my daughter flat out told me, Cynthia, I'm being honest, because she don't like that I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
She don't like that I have, you know what I mean? But what's really weird, listen to this. This is really a kicker. Okay, so she did want this one girl to have her. I don't know if you have this, Cynthia, but we have people in our family that's not our family, but it's actually more to our blood than is our family.
Right.
She said, call my aunt, and I want her to have her. This is what the social worker told her. You can't have her. If you're not willing to adopt her, you can't have her. Because she goes, I don't want to adopt her. I want to help her get her daughter back, and I want to work together. Even if we have to have combined custody, whatever, I want her to keep her child. She said, that's not going to happen. The child's going to be adopted out. 2 weeks.
Okay. That's crazy. So let's go back. The police.
Okay, go ahead.
So the
But no police came to our door or her door or anything. She just said she had to call the medical police and report it. It's called failure to thrive, and it's neglect.
So
Jordan would have charges on her.
Who, how, and when did the baby get taken?
July 29th, 2015. She came to my house and she met me and she took her right out of my home.
Who did?
The caseworker.
The same one.
The same one. She cried the whole time, Cynthia. She said, I don't know why your daughter would want to put her in the system, but I have to honor her, Donna, because my supervisor won't even let you have her. Now I'm going to tell you. I said, what? This is what she said. I will be honest with you. I will never lie to you. So they ran my clearances. And here's the kicker. Okay. My husband had something on his record, Cynthia, that we never knew nothing about. I knew about the situation, but we never knew anything. He was honest with me. I knew him forever because I was friends with my husband for 20-some years before we even dated.
Right.
Here, my husband had it indicated but not found. And then I said, what does that mean? And she's like, it's indicated but not found. Like he, whatever. I go, what are you talking about? I said, I know exactly what situation you're talking about. She's like, I want to give you the baby, but my supervisor won't let you. I said, I'm willing to do anything. My husband was willing to move out. My husband was willing to sign a paper that he would not stay here or whatever. We have other children here, but he said he would do whatever it took to keep her here. Nope, you have something on your record. I was like, what the heck? So I called my friend. This is a long time ago. She said, Donna, that don't even make sense. I work for the state police, and that is not what it says. I said, okay.
What was on the record?
It just said indicated of indicated of abuse, but not found it. That's all it said. And just so you know, you might not know this, Cynthia. Maybe you do. Maybe I'm going to teach you something. Okay. So my friend did this for me and found this out. There is a law called Act 160. Okay. You are not allowed to use it against anybody in a CPS case if it's been more than 5 years. Guess when this happened? 2007. Guess what year this is? 2015.
Yeah. They're nasty.
But guess what? My husband was willing to do whatever. And then he was really pissed because, forgive me for saying this, he didn't even know this was on his record. So we did some research, and not me, friends of ours. And she said, you know what, Donna? We're going to write a letter and we're going to pray about it. I said, okay. So we wrote a letter to the business administrative law judge. They expunged it.
Wow.
They said it was an accident, no problem. So guess what I did again? Applied for the home study the second time. Because Cynthia, even though that was on my husband's record, I still had to try to get my granddaughter because guess what? I didn't want them throwing it in my face. You know what? She didn't even try. I tried. Okay. So that was November 15, 2015.
I'm going to add this question to discuss on Saturday because I hear this all the time where, oh, I had something on my record from 20 years ago and they won't let me have the kid because of that. So how would I write out this question?
Okay.
Can CPS use?
Just so you know, I say it like you do, but our area, it's called CYS.
Okay. Is it children and youth services?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. But I just say CPS because nobody knows what I'm saying if I see CYS because that one's not common.
And CPS use something against you. Okay, can CPS
I know I'm going to blow your mind when I tell you the rest.
Yeah. Your record against you? If so, is there an amount of time okay, so We were talking about your husband's record. I created a question to be asked on Saturday night. The question for Vince will be, can CPS use your past record against you? If so, is there any amount of time that they can go by? I put an example. Person was arrested 15 years prior to CPS involvement. I just put that as an example. But due to it still being on the record, can they hold it against you? Do you think that's a good enough question or enough information to explain it?
Yeah, because you have to ask that. Yeah, or like or like, for an example, what is the charge? I was always told it has to be like something like serious. Like, I'm not being rude. Like, there's a pedophile up the street from me that has the kids, and I couldn't have my granddaughter.
So I put, does it depend on the charge?
Yes. Well, yeah, that's a good question, because I guarantee you, you're gonna get your phone's gonna be loaded. I guarantee you.
Okay.
And then this is what I was told. This is what I was told by the business administrative law judge, that they legally had to send my husband a letter 45 days after they put that on his quote record, so he had a chance to vindicate himself. They never did. And if we would have never had this with our granddaughter, we would have never known it. Because it's weird. My husband teaches helps coach wrestling. My husband helps that church with the youth, you know, with Royal Rangers. So they run his clearances.
Yeah. So I'm still confused on exactly what it is, though.
Okay, what do you mean? All it said was indicated. It says indicated but not found of indicated of abuse but not founded. That's all it said.
Let me look.
Okay. Like, more or less, I was told, this is how I was told, Cynthia, tell me if I'm wrong. I was told the way my friend told me at the state police, something happened, but it wasn't bad enough to make it found or whatever. Like, because my husband they wouldn't even let him take the lie detector test, because he said, I openly did smack my girlfriend's son on the butt. She smashed her shoe on the little girl's face and made her face bleed. Why would I not discipline him?
Okay. Indicated what? But not.
It was indicated? Yes. And it happened in 2007, and we were trying to get our granddaughter in 2015.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. I have the original report and everything.
Indicated means that there's some credible evidence. And I'm not sure if this is together or what, but it says a lot about child abuse or abuse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, also said was indicated, not found. And my husband went to a hearing, Cynthia, you're gonna laugh at this. So grandma got mad because he disciplined the child. And my husband said he just felt too bad because, okay, you have to remember, they never had discipline before in their life. So he took this shoe that had like a metal horn or whatever on it and smashed it on her face, and blood was coming down. So we smacked him 2 times on the butt and put him on the chair. Grandma didn't like it. Grandma called children and youth. So he showed up at the hearing. No one showed up, Cynthia. So the lady said, would you take anger abuse classes, and would you let somebody come to your house? Guess what's really interesting about this whole thing, Cynthia? They never removed the child one time. Because he was with the girl for a long years after that.
All because he spanked them?
Yes, and grandma called children and youth on him. And then what was really, this is why they tried to blame him for more. Okay, so it must have been like snowing out or something. and he must have fell like going down the hill on the sled or whatever. And because my husband had spanked him on the butt 2 times that same weekend, and he had like a bruise on his leg, they said my husband did it. But guess what? When they came to the hearing, they had no proof of no pictures. Even though they said they did, they never had none of them, and they never came to the hearing. So the lady gave him harassment of a minor. That's all he had on his record. It's like equal to a parking ticket.
Harassment of a minor.
Yes. And it was like equal to like a parking ticket. My husband didn't think nothing of it.
And if that's real, like I'm saying, like,
right.
I look at my children and I'm like, so somebody could be doing such to them and get a parking ticket or less than a parking ticket, a notification first, one less pat on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they get, tell me again when they show up at your house and who it was, the social worker. She's crying, and what does she say? We have to take the kid.
She calls me on the phone and she goes, Donna, I just have to warn you. Your daughter doesn't want you to have her. And with the thing on your record, I have to come take her. Please don't cry. I will let you have an hour with her before she goes. But you're going to see her, because then we had doctor's appointments, more doctor's appointments or whatever. And we had hearings, and she would always let me see the child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I wasn't allowed to be in the hearing because I wasn't on the thing or whatever. But I sat outside the hallway. And Cynthia, when I tell you this, I got to tell you, you're going to fall over when I tell you this. She wasn't even in foster care 2 weeks. And this is what the judge says to the foster mother. Are you going to be able to adopt her? My daughter went crazy and she punched out the Sunbury courthouse window. Oh, sorry. She punched out the Pennsylvania courthouse window. They were trying to adopt her out right away. So you know what they did? They moved her because the foster mom didn't want to adopt her.
You know what's crazy to me?
What?
Is how they say all of this in front of you.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I was out in the hallway, okay? And I was there with my daughter. And I just wanted to be there to be supportive. You know what I mean? The foster mom's holding my hand, say, we're praying, you're going to get her. Because I know what this is like. I've had to do this for my daughter. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Right. And all of a sudden, my daughter just comes out of the room or whatever. And I just hear this boom like this, Cynthia. And I'm like, they said she busted out the courthouse window. And then I asked the foster mom what they said. She goes, Donna, they asked me if I would adopt your granddaughter. And I said, no, I'm 63 years old. I want to work on getting you guys back together. And she has an emergency. She was like on one-call care for, like, you know, she helped. Like, she just helped whatever they needed. She's been with this agency for a long time. So she obviously thought there was value. Yeah, she's 63 years old. She goes, I'm sorry, I'm too old. I can't adopt. But I will do anything I can to keep this family together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the lady was real sweet. She gave me a hug. She hugged me and she goes, I'm so sorry. And then my daughter was gone. And then all of a sudden, a month later, the same day that I filed for custody, this is when it got ugly, Cynthia. They told her, my daughter, your mom was at the courthouse and she's filing papers to take your baby. Instead of saying, your mom's at the courthouse filing papers because she wants to help you keep your baby, you know what I mean? And they played us against us. And then that's when it got real staticky. But I filed for custody originally August 21st, 2015. And this is what the reasoning they said. They said there wasn't no established independency, so I had to wait. Well, I got standing a year after that, and I still never got my hearing anyway.
Okay.
So I thought that was very interesting.
That is very interesting.
I didn't have a hearing at that point yet, just so you know.
How old?
I mean, it's an attorney. I didn't have an attorney, I mean.
Sorry.
How old what? That's okay. How old what?
How old was the baby when all this happened?
4 months old.
Oh, she was only 4 months old.
4 months old. 4 months old.
They're always, that's sad. So sad.
It is sad. And you know what? My husband would even have to tell my daughter, listen, she's not trying to take your baby. She's trying to save your baby so you have her. Like, but we couldn't get it through her head. They had her brainwashed.
They do that. The way that they...
I couldn't even usually talk to her, Cynthia. It was so bad. She would get so mad at me. And now she sees, but it was bad. So I just always was respectful to her. I never came to the visits. I had my own visit. What happened was on October 29th, 2015, I had a hearing. That's when I asked for custody, and they said, "Is this your husband's record? I'm not giving you nothing. Have a nice day." Do you know what I did? I called Children and Youth and I said, I demand to see my granddaughter. They said, okay, when do you want to see her? I said, I want to see her. Well, as many times as I can. So I seen her from November 15th, 2015 till June 23rd, 2016 in a room like this for an hour once a month. Never missed one visit.
Tell me again, from November to when?
November 15th, 2015 till June 23rd, 2016. And I filed for home study.
And how long and often were the visits?
Once a month for an hour.
Supervised.
Yes. Well, not like supervised like you think. It was kind of like I'm in this room and there's like one of them like criminal windows and they watch you through the room.
They weren't watching you?
I don't really know, because a couple times the caseworker would come in and say, Donna, I got to go to a meeting. I'll make sure I'm back before time to go. I don't know if they were setting me up or not, but there's nobody in with me. But I just knew there was like this window that was there, and they said they supposedly could see me. Yeah, one-way mirror. Yeah. But I never missed a visit, and I took my son with.
We had a room. It was the size of my master. Smaller. No, it's this size. And my visits, I went from being a full-time mom to seeing my children once a week for 2 hours, supervised.
Wow.
And it was so amazing. I don't know what other word to use, and not in a good way amazing, but amazing to see my mom with my children. You know, I was always the parent that no matter what was going on, and I never took it out on my kids. And she went from being able to see my kids all the time freely.
I don't know how a mom could do that, because even though my daughter was not perfect, I was defending her left and right. And I said I even wanted to help her, even if they would do like a combined custody thing or whatever I had to do to get her, you know, the help that she needed or whatever. Yeah. Nope, they said I was enabling her. She's a first-time mom. I don't think that's enabling. I think that's being a good mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bad. And you know what? For years, even now to this day, Cynthia, honestly, she still has anger.
Well, yeah.
And she'll say, I did it to her. Because I got so bad, Cynthia, I got to tell you, I had her so much that she called me mommy. And I never tried to do that to her. I would always tell her that I'm Mimi. But my one attorney said, she don't need a Mimi. She needs a mommy. So then I stopped correcting her. But then towards the end, I'm like, what if this was my child? I'm like, I'm not your mommy, honey. I'm Mimi. She said, no, you're my mommy. And this person is my mommy. She was just so connected to me that she would not say she wouldn't listen to me. She was very smart, more than what people give her credit for.
I understand. And so my mom made my kids call her mom.
Wow. And I think that's how my daughter feels, the way you feel, because I think when she would call me and she would hear it in the background, but I never let her say anything or whatever, because like I could not. Somebody made an anonymous report on me, Cynthia, saying that I left my daughter in the house. And I'm like, I would not do that. I'm not stupid. I love my daughter, but if it comes down to it, I got to pick my granddaughter over my daughter. And my daughter could never understand that, but I had to. She made her bed. She lied in it. She's older. I had to fight for this little girl that needed her family. So there's times I had to delete her off Facebook. I had to block her off Facebook. I couldn't answer her phone calls because they told me if I did, I would lose my granddaughter. So I never talked to my daughter. And then I found out from another attorney that was all lies and scare tactics, and I should have told him to go suck a duck. But I just wanted to be obedient, and I did what they said. So she had a lot of anger over that.
I can understand.
And every day, you know what I'll say to her when she talks to me? I can't change the past, but I can tell you that I love you. And one day, this is all going to make sense. And God did not do this to you. The system did this to you. And just because you had problems does not mean that you had the right to lose your child. There was help. They didn't get you the help because they didn't want to help you. They only wanted your child. And if that hurts you, I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
They don't ever help.
Nope. This caseworker did, Cynthia. It was so bad. This caseworker came up in the middle of the night because my daughter wanted to kill herself because she missed her baby. I mean, can you imagine just having a baby? It's only that many months old. And she's like, I'm going to kill myself. And I'm like, no, you're not. She would call the caseworker. The caseworker come up and talk to her, be like, Jordan, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You have to fight. You love her, but this is the intake. When it got to the other caseworker, it got worse.
You know, it was literally only by the grace of God that I'm alive. And I mean, like, not because of my health issues or anything like that, but because of the fight.
Probably your mental.
Yeah. But when my kids were taken, I wanted to die.
I bet. I bet. And this is only her first child. Do you know what I mean?
I do understand, like, your baby, like, it being so new and stuff, but at the same time, having an older kid and having that relationship with them. And
yes, it stinks both ways if you ask me.
Oh, absolutely. There's no, I'm just saying, on all spectrums, it is difficult. It doesn't matter how old that child is. That is your child. It doesn't matter if you carried them in the womb. It doesn't matter if you gave, I was going to say live birth. It doesn't matter if you pushed them out or they were cut out. It doesn't matter. When you claim as a mom to be a mom and that's your baby, that's your child. And it hurts. No matter what.
My heart hurts for her. Something that's really weird. She'll never know this because she won't believe me because they brainwashed her against me, and I don't know how long it's going to take her. There'll be days that she looks just like her, okay? Like I'm being a spitting image. And I would cry sometimes just because my daughter was missing all this. It really hurt.
I want to show you.
Okay.
That's me.
Wow. That is how. Yep. I'll show you a picture too sometime. Same thing with with her. They're twins. I mean,
That's
they
me
are
and that's my
twins.
son.
Oh, wow. Now, you know what's really weird? You probably don't, I don't know if you ever seen my Facebook picture or whatever. If you look at our picture, people will always say, oh my gosh, Donna, she looks just like you. Like she looks a lot like, she could look like she could be my daughter.
Your daughter? Or your
Like as in like my granddaughter actually looks like me. Like we could pass for mother and daughter. Because I would be out public, you know, like at a bounce house or something. They're like, oh, your daughter's so precious. I said, she's my granddaughter. Oh, you don't look old enough to be a grandma. I'm like, nope, she's my granddaughter. She's like, wow, she looks just like you. I said, nope, she's my granddaughter.
Okay, so she gets taken.
I filed for custody.
Well, wait, hold on. Where does she go?
Oh, sorry. She goes, okay, so she went to the first foster home, and then because that lady said no, Cynthia, she got moved to another foster home.
But how
That's where
long,
she's at now.
how
Oh,
long
30
was she
days.
there?
30 days.
Okay. When was the first court hearing?
August 5th. She got adjudicated August 5th.
When was she taken?
July 29th. That's how long it took to get a hearing.
It's supposed to be no longer than 72 hours.
Yep, it was July 29th, and she didn't get a hearing until August 5th. But this is what's really weird. When she called me, Cynthia, see, I don't have the paperwork because I'm not the mom, okay? She said she got an order from the judge to put her in foster care, and the regular for a shelter hearing, I wasn't there for that. And then that's why they came and picked her up at my house. They called on the phone and said that she wouldn't sign the paper, so they had to come get her, and they got an order from the judge. But I never seen no order. I just had to turn her over. And all I seen was the word adjudicated August 5th. So for all I know, they could have had a shelter hearing without me there and the child not there. I never seen that word, just so you know. It always was August 5th. It said the word adjudicated. Adjudicated dependent.
Let me look that up really fast.
Okay.
Can you spell it?
Yeah. It's a very common word in CPS. Adjudicated. Hold on, I got that. Okay.
I found it.
Okay.
Adjudicated what? Delinquent?
Adjudicated dependent. That meant the agency had custody of her. That's what it says in Pennsylvania anyway.
Hold on,
Okay.
my mouse disappeared.
Yeah, so they did so they did a shelter hearing or whatever without the mother being there or the baby, because that's when they came to my house and picked her up. And said they got a judge to order her.
Hearing without. Okay, I want to write that as a question too. Hold on 1 second.
Go ahead. Because I wasn't there and I never missed one hearing. Even when I wasn't allowed in.
Hold on 1 sec.
Go ahead.
Okay, now let me read you the definition. If a child is adjudicated dependent in the hearing, meaning a child is without proper care, it allows the court to order services and programs for the child and family that include the following: drug, alcohol, mental health evaluation for child and parents or parents.
Wow.
So,
Now, when I ask my daughter, she says, Mom, they're lying. They never asked me to sign a paper. But see, with her being on meth, who knows?
so tell me again, they asked her to sign a paper?
For me to have her.
Okay.
And she supposedly said no. So that's why the caseworker had to put her in foster care, because she would not sign the paper.
It's hard. You don't want anybody to have your child.
Exactly. That's exactly what she said. And guess what, Cynthia? If they would have said to her right then and there, I'll put you in rehab with your baby, she would have been there like that. That's all she wanted. She did not want to leave her baby. That's all she wanted.
Do you think she really would have been in rehab like that?
Yeah, because they already told me in the beginning. I have a friend that actually works for Children and Youth. She actually testified for me and everything. This makes her disgusted. She told me all the people to call. She goes, I never believed until I met you that, because we went to the same church. She said, Donna, this isn't the way it's supposed to go. She's actually the one that gave me the courage to call up for the permanency, the home study paper, because here she was taken July 29th. She said, Donna, it is the law by 30 days that you get a kinship paper. And I didn't get one until I threatened them and got it in November of 2015. That's how long it took to get my paper. And they took her from my house, so they knew that I wanted her. Yeah, my friend actually went to court and testified for me and everything. She's like, I don't care if I work for Children and Youth or not. She said, this is not the way that it works. You do work on reunification. If the mother's not capable, you do this, this, and this. They tried to fire her and then demote her and everything. But yes, she went out on a limb for me. 26 years, she only placed 10 kids, Cynthia. What does that tell you? She's not a put kids away person.
She's not a kidnapper.
Right. And she don't even have her own kids. She don't even have her own kids. She could never have children. She miscarried 20 times when she was younger. So she just felt like this was her plan from God.
Wow. Does she still work for them?
Yep. It'll be 27 years this month. She actually does more on the line of going into families and doing therapy in their house and keeping family goals to keep the family together. That's what she does. She said, I feel like I have to, because I feel like I'm the only light at the end of the tunnel for people.
Yeah. So what happens at the first court hearing? That is.
Okay, that was October 29th, 2015.
No.
The one that I was allowed in.
What happened in August?
I wasn't allowed in.
Okay, but do you know what happened?
All I know is that they adjudicated her, and the judge asked if this foster mom would adopt my granddaughter, and my daughter busted out the courthouse window.
Were you there?
The child stayed with that lady. What?
Were you there?
What? Yes, I was there every single time. I was sitting on the bench. And I said, what is your problem? I'm being honest. I'm real, okay? I go, what is your problem? She goes, Mom, they asked that lady in there that she wanted to adopt my effing kid. And she walked out and did you ever see a courthouse window? She put her hand right through it. No questions asked. They didn't even arrest her. They let her go.
can't.
I know. I'm going to blow your mind even more than that.
I'm sure. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so then all of a sudden, she stayed in that foster home. On August 21st, 2015, they removed her from that home and put her in a foster to adopt home.
Say it again.
They removed her from that family, the first foster mom, August 21st, 2015, and put her in a foster to adopt home. And that's the day I filed for custody.
And how was your daughter on that now? Was she wanting you to adopt her now, or at least have her?
Well, she's very up and down. March 16th, 2017, she signed her parental rights over because her pro bono attorney told her that it would help me adopt her child.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yes, that's okay. On March 16th, 2017, it was TPR. She told me that her pro bono attorney told her that if she signs her rights over voluntarily, it will be easier for me to adopt her. So she signed them over. Not to me, to whoever, whatever you do. They wouldn't let me in the TPR hearing either.
So when you say that she signed them over, but to whoever, was that whoever against you? Like anybody?
I think it was CPS, because when she asked if she could sign her rights over to her mom, me, they said you're not allowed to do that.
Why?
They said because we're past that. And that's when I did have an attorney, and the attorney was in there with my daughter and the foster parents' adoptive attorney, and they would not let me in. And I was on the docket. Like, I had standing then, because I got standing June 29th, 2016. And the judge told me as long as I had a home study approved, Cynthia, I could have my granddaughter. And I was almost done.
What?
I was almost done. So I wasn't done with my home study yet. Okay. I had a couple more. This is my second one. Okay. The kinship paper they denied and wouldn't give me the home study. So then my husband got his record expunged February 24th, 2016. Then I filed again to say, I want my granddaughter. I started the home study May 2016, and I was approved September 14th, 2016. I still didn't get my granddaughter. My mom got approved too, even though she's not the best, I'm being honest. She did it for me so I could have her. They didn't even give her, she had her too. She was approved home study till I got approved, and they still wouldn't give the child to her.
Wow.
And I don't know if you know how much a home study costs in your area. Our area, the agency has to pay $2,500 for every home study.
So did you have to pay that?
No, the agency paid it.
Wow.
Fingerprints and all. They paid it all. And that's when my husband had no record, because it was expunged. Because even the other person that has my granddaughter wanted to know so bad, but they have this new law now. You can't find it, even if you're an attorney, because it's expunged. And he wanted to know so bad, but nobody knows. Only us. So I applied for her twice. They denied me and would not. God, sorry.
Nobody knows what? Say that part again.
Okay, nobody knows really what happened with my husband because they would not give him, they wouldn't give the attorney the information because a new law came out or something that they are not allowed, after it's expunged, not even an attorney can get the information unless the client gives it to them. So they did not know what was on my husband's record. They just knew there was something on his record. But guess what they said in every report? It makes me so mad, Cynthia. They put that he had prior abuse, and that is not abuse. I know what abuse is. I was abused.
Yeah.
That's why I was involved. That was why I went with my dad, because my mom beat me. But I continue to have visits for every week for 3 hours, supervised by the foster parents. They usually didn't. She did, but he didn't. Because he said, there's nothing wrong with you. And I'm not sitting around here and watching you for 3 hours. I'll see you in 3 hours. I might pop in here or there, but we were in the park because it was really nice outside or whatever. He would come pop in, but he would say, I'll see you in 2 hours.
When you say he and she, are you talking about foster mom and dad?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he and she always watched me. He did not.
Okay, so foster dad said, there's nothing to watch. I'm just.
You're a mom. You already did this before.
I'll check
Yep.
in.
Yeah. Because like there's a McDonald's across the street, or if he wanted to go get gas or whatever, do you know what I mean? He's like, I'll just make sure I'm here in 3 hours. And that's how he was at the bounce house too. When we had to start having visits on the inside because it was cold,
Yeah.
he'd say, I'll see you in 3 hours. He would meet me there, and then he would meet me right back.
Tell me how it was with visits and stuff and the relationship when the baby started talking.
Oh my gosh. She always knew who I was. She always knew who I was. I'll never forget. I used to always talk to her, and I would say something to her, and I would be like, you can call me anything you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. And out of the blue, she just said, Mimi.
That's cute.
We were always laughing. She always wanted my son. Because see, my son and her are bonded like brother and sister. She would always think that my son was her sibling because of the old lawyer telling me that I can't say that I'm Mimi. I got what she calls me mommy. I got to encourage it. If I'm willing to adopt her, I have to step up as mom. Even though in my heart, I did not want to do that, Cynthia, because I knew that it would hurt my daughter. So how I got this whole ball rolling is my attorney at the time submitted, okay, this is what it's called. I don't know if you ever went through this. She submitted to motion to compel my home study to get a hearing.
Yep.
And here the judge did not know that I had other kids. The judge did not know I had an approved home study. And he goes, what are you talking about? He looked at the children and youth lady and he goes, children live solicitor. He goes, what do you mean that you didn't tell me that this grandmother has a home study? He goes, we're going to court. January 12th, 2017, I will see you in court. They didn't even have a hearing, Cynthia. This is what they said. Show me evidence that child is bonded and I will give overnights. I showed my phone how we were dancing. They let me have overnights. But it took me 2 years to get overnights. They blocked me from overnights.
How did mom do in court?
She never came. She's in prison.
Why?
Conspiracy to commit first-degree homicide.
Say it again.
Conspiracy to commit first-degree homicide.
On who?
A man that she was with, kind of like being at the wrong place at the wrong time or whatever. I guess this guy she was with, they were fighting over something, I think $20 or something. She got in the car with the guy that beat the guy almost to a pulp. I'm just being totally honest. When I mean almost a pulp, I mean this much till he was almost dead. They called it conspiracy to commit third-degree homicide because she blew up the car with the evidence and she was there with the guy that did it. So she was going to serve 20 to 40 years. But God, she told the cop where the gun was, and she only served 3 years.
I love that statement, but God.
She's a miracle.
Has she changed her life?
Yes, she's doing amazing. You still can't talk about this though. Because see, I had called her one day and she got so mad at me, Cynthia. I said, I'm trying to appeal. It's not right that she don't see her biological family. So she wrote up on DocuSign from a friend that did it for me. She put in there that I only signed my rights over because I thought that my mom was going to be able to adopt my child. And with the Family First Act, they did not do my wishes. I put that in my appeal. It didn't matter. Not one appeal was heard. The whole way up to the Supreme Court. I appealed everything. Everything. And I was seeing the child every single weekend, Cynthia, for 3 years. The homesteading lady even came and defended me. She stuck up for me. She said, I don't care if Donna didn't pass her GED 14 times. I don't care if Donna came from a rotten home. Look at Donna. She's not, yeah, she had problems. Who wouldn't with the life she had? But she didn't do drugs. She's stable. The system don't usually end up like this with kids like Donna. And you know what? I have a grandmother that doesn't know how to read, and I go into her home every month and do her bills. There's no reason why Donna should not have her granddaughter. And then this is what's really fishy. Listen to this, Cynthia. Okay, so she signed her rights over. Okay, the February 12th, I got visits. Oh, listen to this. Okay, I'm going to blow your mind now. I'm really going to blow your mind. Here comes the blower. Okay, so I was told my granddaughter's coming home. Get the crib ready. My pastor put it all over Facebook because I had nothing. I'm just being honest, okay?
Yeah, one more time. It cut out.
What? Oh.
That part, start over.
Okay, so January 10th, I got overnights, okay? Because the judge didn't even know I had a home study. The judge didn't even know I had other kids. All they would talk about is this child that is all these problems that I'm a mother of. And every time she would mess up, they would blame it on me. So then we had a hearing February 12th, 2017. They said, she's coming home. Get ready. Foster mom at the end of the hearing said, I think that her husband raped her daughter. And I went, what? The judge looks at me, says, you could still have her every other weekend and the still Sunday and the Monday, but will you agree to a bonding assessment and a risk harm assessment? I said, yes, Your Honor, as long as the foster parents do it. They fought from February till June 1st for that bonding and risk harm assessment. Because my lawyer originally wanted a third party not involved with children and youth. And they wanted this man that works for children and youth to do it. And this is what he said. He chooses the foster parents because they had her longer. But me and the child and my son and her are bonded, and that I should see her a lot in her life. And we're both capable of adoption. They still sided with children and youth because that's who gets paid. He gets paid by them.
Isn't it always about the money?
Yes, and it's always about the other family. I don't understand. The foster parents they never say anything ever bad about nobody. Only my husband. Guess what, Cynthia? Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't care if he's records judging. Everything, even in the appeals. They brought it up in every part of the appeal. I thought when your record's expunged, you shut it. Okay, you ready for the next part? I'm going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
2 weeks after the adoption hearing, somebody makes an anonymous tip that my husband raped my daughter. Again. I'm like, this is really fishy. Don't you think?
Is this her father?
God. No, my husband's not her father.
Okay.
Stepdaughter. But I will tell you something. There's something that happened in my past with another person that I was with. So they thought they could use the same thing against me. So they kind of like did double jeopardy, if that makes kind of sense or whatever. And they did it again. They've tried this through me through all these years, all the time. They even would make reports about me way before I even had a granddaughter and try to get me in so much trouble. And the children and youth worker would say, you call so much, I'm telling Donna who it is. And they would tell me who it was. Not this county, but another county. Do you know what I mean? Because they thought that it was funny just to call children and youth on people, which I think it's disgusting, you know? So this is what I think is very interesting. Now, Cynthia, I did not have the best life, and I might not understand a lot, but I know this. If a perpetrator is a perpetrator, why would you wait to make an anonymous report when I was already getting business with the child for a year prior straight? Why would you wait till 2 weeks in the middle of an adoption hearing, make an anonymous report that my husband raped my daughter in 2011, and this is 2018?
Wow.
So this is what happened. The granddaughter could not come here, okay? But I still got my visits. I had to meet the foster parents Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single day. Like I would get her at 9 in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. And then I would meet back again. And I did that for 3 months until they cleared him.
But you were still
God,
married to your husband.
Still married to my husband, yes. They wouldn't let him see her till the investigation was over.
Okay. And during that whole investigation, you still had the weekends, overnight part too, right?
No, I never had no overnights then. They took them away. They actually made them suspended until the investigation. But I was allowed to meet the foster parents, my normal visitation and everything. I just wasn't allowed to have her here. I had to go to a different church. I had to go to a friend's house that was approved by Children and Youth. And I wasn't allowed to bring her in the home for 3 months. No proof or nothing, just anonymous report. Listen to this. They said my daughter made the anonymous report that's in prison. I said, well, that's really interesting. My daughter don't talk to nobody. So she called me one day.
Who said
what?
That?
It's actually in the, it's actually, okay, when I tell you this, the DA called me. They actually went right to the DA. I said, it was Chief something DA or whatever. And I said, sir, don't you think this is a little awkward? He got really nasty with me. I said, what do you mean? I said, we're in the middle of adoption hearing. He goes, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I bet you didn't. And then he said, you just don't want to accept you're married to a perpetrator. I said, excuse me? I said, my husband is not a perpetrator. You do what you have to do, and I will do what I have to do. So it happened February 22nd, 2018. It took 1 month till they got a court order approved. They actually called the judge overnight and got the visit stopped with no hearing. All they did was told the judge that the child's in danger with the family and you need to make this order right away. I didn't even know about it, Cynthia. I showed up to meet the foster dad and I'm like, so I text him, I'm like, hello, I'm here to meet you with my granddaughter. He goes, well, don't you know? I go, no, what? He's like, there's an anonymous tip against your husband and we can't bring her. I said, no, nobody told me nothing. He's like, I'm sorry, but I can't bring her. And I'm like, that's nice. So then I called Children and Youth and I screamed at him and I said, I demand my visits. I don't know who you think you are. What are you talking about, Donna? I said, what do you mean I'm talking about I want my visits? They weren't supposed to stop for you. They were only supposed to stop for your husband. How can I do that? We live together. Well, you just have to tell me that you're not going to be at the house and go somewhere else and we'll be fine. I said, it's done. And then I had to see her Like I slept in the church. I had to stay at the church sometimes. So it was later. Cause like, if I'm running around all day long for 5 or 8 hours, you know what I mean? That's a lot of money to just drive around for nothing and not have nowhere to go. I did that for 3 months. And then it came back. This is the kicker. They went to see my daughter at prison and said, so I hear your stepdad molested you and raped you. She goes, oh my gosh, I am so sick of hearing this. She goes, I did not call you and tell you that. I don't know who called you and told you that. That is not true. I never said that. And furthermore, my daughter's first word was pappy. They deleted it and got it off. And it was whatever you want to call it, closed. And then I got makeup time, Cynthia. Then I got to see her every weekend, Friday to Sunday, plus every 2 days for 3 months because they owed me 24 overnights. Now listen to this. Is this a little fishy? My adoption hearing was February 2nd, 2018, but the foster parents wasn't until September 6th, 2018. The judge didn't even remember my testimony.
Say those dates again.
Okay, so my adoption hearing was, okay, I'm gonna kick you. I'm gonna knock your block off again. Okay, so I didn't know this, Cynthia, till about a year ago. My first lawyer combined my case with the foster parents without asking me. Like I filed for adoption April 19, 2017. They filed for adoption May 16, 2017. She just decides, I'm gonna put your cases together and make you codependent adoption people together and have hearings against each other. I'm like, what? I didn't know this till a year ago. So February 2nd, 2018 was my adoption hearing. It was all day, okay? And then their hearing wasn't until September 6th, 2018. Well, after the judge was done, this is exactly what he said. He said, I can't make a decision. I have to look at the case. I don't remember. This was too long. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to make a decision. So then my lawyer had to take over the dockets and he said he had to read it. And then November 15, 2018, Cynthia, they made an order and said they don't approve my adoption. They dismiss it because my husband's kidneys are at 20%. He posts on Facebook. He don't take his life seriously. And I have a dysfunctional family. My heart was broken.
I was gonna say.
So I called my lawyer and I said, you better file an appeal. Well, ironically, she filed the appeal, but didn't finish it. So all of a sudden I got this real gut feeling, Cynthia, you just know something's wrong, okay?
Right.
I kept calling her. I'm like, okay, I never did this before. So like you filed the appeal December 14, 2018. Like, do I wait? What do I have to do? You know, this and that. She ignored me. I'm like, well, that's weird. She ignored me again. My first attorney.
And this is a court appointed or hired?
No, my mom paid for her. Like I paid her.
Wow, and she's ignoring you?
Yes. Wait till I tell you this. I'm going to blow your mind. I really am. I found out a year ago. She worked for CPS the whole time, and I hired her private. She actually used to work in conflicts, and she was their attorney. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So they filed the appeal. Thank God I pay attention to dates. I'm like, okay, it's December 14th, January 6th. She's not calling me back. Something's not right. So I called my friend that's a lawyer, and I said, I need a friend. I need a friend. I need a friend. And she said, Donna, do me a favor. Call the courthouse tomorrow and ask these questions. This is what the lady says to me, Cynthia. Your lawyer will not answer my paperwork. And if you don't get a lawyer today, your appeal is done. I go, huh? She never filed the docket thing you do or the reasons or whatever. And I'm like, what the heck? Thank God this lady stepped up and she said, I'll enter a case in your appearance. I'll get it, you know, I'll get it, whatever. And she kept messaging her and saying, I need the file. I need the file. I need the file. She ignored her for a month until this lady, my old lawyer, threatened her and said, if you don't turn this file over, I am taking you to the district board. She had to file 3 extensions because my appeal almost didn't make it because she didn't file anything. Well, you know what? That was a bad start for this attorney. She didn't know my case. But I seen her every single weekend this whole time, even the appeal process, up to November 15, 2019. This is when my life changed. Children Youth called me on the phone and they said, thank God I didn't answer. Hey, Donna, tomorrow the permanency review is, you can't come because we're changing it into adoption hearing and you're never going to see your granddaughter again. My lawyer's like, not on my watch. So we went up and filed for a continuance because she wanted to have time to gather the evidence and see what was going on. They denied it. They changed the judge from upstairs to downstairs and they wouldn't let me in the hearing. And I never seen my granddaughter since.
When was that, the date?
November 15, 2019.
Almost a year.
Almost a year. And I was seeing her every single weekend. And let me tell you everything I did. Okay, so they wouldn't let me in the hearing. So I'm like, you know what, Cynthia? I'm like, I'm not waiting around. I'm going to do something. I went over to the custody office. That's what I said. Hey, I filed custody 2015. Can you check and see if my petition's still there? She goes, actually, it really is, Donna. I said, oh, okay. She said, you can modify it. So I filed. I was supposed to have a hearing December 11th. Judge blocked me. I had a hearing February 11th, blocked me. Had a hearing June 3rd, adjudicated it. Never got a custody hearing, modification, visitation, nothing. My lawyer tries to file a new petition in the courthouse. The clerk of courts looks right at her and says, this child is adopted. I'm not accepting it. This judge told me I'm not allowed to. You must leave. Just so you know, we have grievances against this judge, so I'm glad you don't let me mention no names. I actually turned in the other lawyer into the district board as well. And that's it. Oh, okay, this is the kicker. Cynthia, you ready for the drum roll? Foster parents are trying to sue me for $23,000 because I appealed against them to see my granddaughter, and they threatened my other lawyer, so she had to drop me because they're suing her too.
Wow.
Did I blow your mind?
That's pretty crazy.
I've called 54 lawyers. All they keep saying is, this is a custody case. I said, no, it's not. It's under a custody docket. They told me I don't have no case. I'm trying to get somebody to represent me because the foster parents are trying to sue me, and I don't want to walk in there with no representation. She goes, I'm not getting in this. I know this is shady. She's like, so you're telling me, this is lawyers that I met, so you're telling me that because they sent this to the Superior Court, Cynthia, they've been trying to sue me since December of 2019. Actually, they threatened me. They said if I didn't stop filing my appeals, they were going to sue me anyway. Sorry, she's my blood. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. And it's my right as my biological parent I can appeal. And I only had filed one appeal then, and they were threatening to sue me then. So then all of a sudden, because I didn't get my custody hearing, I filed appeal on that. They wouldn't let me see the docket. I filed appeal on that. They wouldn't let me have my hearing. I filed appeal on that. They wouldn't the judge has grievances on it. I did it all. I filed for guardianship. I did it all. They blocked me from everything. And the same day they had that secret hearing, Cynthia, they made it a court. Okay. They said they changed the permanency hearing into an adoption hearing because they were allowed to do that since I lost my appeal, which I found out that's not true because I have like 90 days to appeal or whatever. And then they said that they also terminated her court supervision the same day. but I was seeing the child.
Wow.
And I tried to message the foster dad, and I asked him if I could see her, and he said unless I dropped all appeals and paid my attorney fees in full, that I couldn't see her. Then I tried to offer, and I'm not admitting this is right, but I was willing to do whatever it took to see her. Their lawyer fees were $15,000 first. Okay. So my lawyer said on August 7th, 2020, do you want to offer $100 a month or whatever towards the legal fees, and then offer to them to see her like every other weekend or once a month, share birthdays and holidays, you can get something? I said, yes, whatever it takes. They said, that's not enough. Then my lawyer said she was willing to pay the $23,000 they're trying to sue us for, and that I could find a way to pay her back, but to try to get an agreement. They said not giving me an agreement. So she had to remove herself from my case because I wouldn't agree to settle to pay that money when I said, that's not right. I'm not. I smell a rat. And then okay, listen to this, Cynthia. This is really interesting what the one attorney told me for the free consultation. He said, this is very interesting because how can you skip to the Superior Court, try to sue you, they take it back to the trial court, they didn't give your lawyer due process, but they say you and your lawyer are severally joint liable for these legal fees and court costs, and you never had a hearing. He said, it's fishy, but I'm not helping you. Keep calling other attorneys. And I called, like I told you, 54. No pro bono would even help me either, even though we don't make a lot of money. $5 years. Can you imagine what my granddaughter thinks? She's seen us every single weekend. I even did some research, Cynthia. I don't know a lot of things, but this one lady from Children, you said that one thing that they use in their evaluations for kids for trauma. And with the Family First Act, I appealed on that. The Act 55, they wouldn't hear nothing. So I don't know what is going on. I don't know what my lawyer did. I have no idea. All I know is that they're trying to sue her as well for not following the law and for saying she filed frivolous appeals that were no documentation.
Wow.
That's my story. I even called the foster mom on the phone and I said, hey, is there any way we can work this out? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you in any way. I just want to see my granddaughter. She's like, you cost me too much money. I said, but it's not about the money. It's about the child. And I even said I was sorry because honestly, I filed for custody. Okay. But the longer that I seen that she was there with them, I know she loves them too. She's been there since she's 4 months old.
Right. And you're not allowed to have any type of communication with.
Well, it's not court ordered, okay? But they have not allowed me. I asked in February and they still haven't. And we were supposed to have a hearing this September, but they stayed my case until I could find counsel.
Do you have an attorney?
Nope, I can't find one yet. That's why I was going to call Vince. I was going to call Vince tomorrow because he told me to call him or whatever. I'm going to see. I'm trying to find somebody to help me. There has to be somebody out there that's willing to stand up. I'm telling you, there has to be.
Call Vince.
Okay.
And see.
Okay.
And then what I would like you to do is write out a timeline of everything that
I already have it in my emails. Tell me where your email is. I already have it ready. The only difference in that email is that every appeal in that timeline has been denied. They have not, none of them worked. That's the only difference of the timeline. because I didn't write it out. My old attorney did, because I don't understand that stuff. The only difference is that none of the appeals worked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep in touch. Talk to Vince. I want to know what happens. And then let's do an update on this. I want to know, how long is your daughter away for?
Oh, she's already out and everything. She don't want nothing to do with this. She's already out. God bless her, Cynthia. She's been out a year this coming month.
You guys don't have a relationship though?
Yeah, but she won't get involved.
Okay.
Because you know why? She's friends with the foster mom.
Does she get to see her daughter?
Just on Facebook.
Was it a closed adoption?
No, it wasn't. Because how could it be a closed adoption? Well, see, Jordan was in prison when all this happened. She only got out this month a year ago. The adoption was, oh, just so you know, somebody stalked her Facebook for me, Cynthia, and they said on her Facebook she put up something finally, and that's when my appeals were denied, just so you know, June 2020. And guess what? The judge, listen to this, Cynthia, the judge was even ordered by the Supreme Court to turn all the files over. He wouldn't turn them over. And then when he did, he waited till the last day and my appeal was already denied. Because he wouldn't even cooperate to turn over the files for the certified record, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? He kept denying and denying and denying. So the only case I have open right now, supposedly, every time when somebody looks at my docket, they say, Donna, something's fishy about this. But it only says civil action case custody. It says civil action case custody, but it's only about court fees and legal costs. Because like I said, I never got my custody hearing, visitation hearing ever. All the times I filed and all the hearings. And then supposedly June 3rd, he vacated it. I don't even know what that means. And I have grievances against him, just so you know. The lawyer actually filed them. And he's still on my case. And she was getting ready to file like a, Cynthia, she was getting ready to file like a, what's it called? A change of venue. Because just so you know, the child don't even live in this county.
Wow.
And a change of venue, a recusal. And then she hired this, whatever you want to call it, lawyer. And he said, no, that will cost so much money. Just try to take care of it peacefully. We'll fight for you or whatever. And she never did it. And then she refused to answer my motion. Here I found out August 5th or July. She only told me August 31st. She never answered my motion to show cause why I shouldn't have to pay the adopted foster parents. She never answered it. She said, you have to answer it. I go, I don't know what to do. And she got herself removed off my case September 4th.
Wow.
Of this year.
Well, Donna, I have another interview.
Okay, that's fine.
I appreciate you sharing your story. Now I know why you needed to go through what you've gone through, because of all the strength you need to go through this. But it's not going to just stop here, and you know that. God's going to use you.
Amen.
It's going to grow. Let me end this.
Okay.